he said, smooth transition.
Politics is tough, and it's many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate very much a transition that's so smooth. It'll be as smooth as it can get.
A huge moment in this country. President Biden and President-elect Trump meeting in the Oval Office this morning, a tradition for the president to host the incoming commander-in-chief to signal that smooth transition of power. It's happened for decades, except for once in 2020, when then President Trump chose not to host Joe Biden when Biden won the presidency. In addition to that moment you just saw, more news coming from D.C. about the political future for our country. NBC News is projecting, and we can confirm tonight, Republicans have won the House, which means they have a triple threat: control of the House, the Senate, and with President-elect Trump, the White House. Trump has also been nominating cabinet positions at a fast pace, but several have to be confirmed before it's a done deal. Think head of the CIA, Homeland Security, Secretary of Defense. And speaking of that last one, Pete Hegseth is the nominee. Hegseth is an Army veteran and a host on Fox News. He grew up in Forest Lake and once ran for the U.S. Senate. Danny Spiewak has more.
On the hardwood and the gridiron, Pete Hegseth made a name for himself with the Forest Lake Rangers in the late 1990s.
I had him as a student in Forest Lake High School.
Bob Detmer taught Hegseth and later served 8 terms as a Republican in the Minnesota House of Representatives.
He's a good, great student athlete, not just an athlete, but a very academically very sound. A few of the basketball games that I went to, you could see that their leadership was there.
After graduating from Forest Lake in 1999, Hegseth enrolled at Princeton.
Now Pete Hegseth has come into the game for Princeton
and played 4 years of Division I basketball.
John Thompson emptying his bench a bit more.
After college, he joined the Minnesota Army National Guard, with deployments to Guantanamo Bay, Iraq, and Afghanistan, earning 2 Bronze Stars.
Fortunate circumstance.
Hegseth also worked for veterans groups.
I think our message remains.
And in 2012 ran unsuccessfully in Minnesota's Republican primary for U.S. Senate, a seat ultimately won by Amy Klobuchar.
Small businesses create jobs.
A few years later, Hegseth joined Fox News, where he's been a familiar face for millions of Americans over the past decade, including President-elect Trump. In nominating Hegseth as his defense secretary, Trump called him tough, smart, and a true believer in America first.
Just the style of communicating. That's going to be important when it comes to his responsibilities of Secretary of Defense.
If approved by the Senate, Hegseth would oversee an $800 billion defense budget and more than 1 million active duty troops. But his confirmation is not a given.
Very little experience in running the largest department in the federal government.
Democrats argue Hegseth has never served in a top senior leadership role, unlike some previous defense secretaries who were military generals.
So lack of experience to make the Pentagon bureaucracy, work better is a concern.
While some Republicans, even if supportive, have taken a wait-and-see approach.
Obviously, there'll be a Senate confirmation process, and he will obviously be able to better articulate his views on the Department of Defense.
With wars ongoing in Ukraine and the Middle East, Hegseth has strongly backed Israel while taking a hard stance against Iran. Recently, he also said he opposes women serving in labor-intensive combat roles and said diversity initiatives undermine the military's mission.
Any general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever, that was involved in any of the DEI woke, it's got to go.
If the Senate approves Hegseth, he would become the first defense secretary in history from the state of Minnesota.
He'll probably spend some time in Forest Lake as guest speakers in high school and so forth.
As you all know,
those things are important for a community.
With the U.S. Senate still needing to confirm his selection, Hegseth has not yet commented or posted anything publicly. Jana.
Now, you talked a little bit about this, Danny, but I think most Americans are used to seeing really decorated admirals, generals with lots of decorations on their service uniform. Hegseth doesn't really have that. Is that going to be detrimental to him?
The lack of the top leadership roles is probably the criticism you're hearing from some, including Democrats, who will be involved in the nomination and the confirmation process in the Senate. To give you some perspective, Lloyd Austin, the current defense secretary, is a 4-star general, as was Jim Mattis, who was Trump's first defense secretary back in 2017. So it's definitely not probably typical, but there are some that argue that Hegseth's experience and what he did as a soldier is valuable in its own way.
Interesting. Will be an interesting confirmation process. Danny, thanks so much.